Hello, happy Saturday. Welcome to my Facebook Live. Winter's here, so I'm all wrapped up and I hope you are too, to keep all those neck warms so they don't seize up. Now, today's subject is very interesting, very close to my heart. Soul purpose. Why did I choose it today? I suppose, just going to pull my microphone out so you can actually hear me. It's something that's really kind of come up for me recently. Something that I've been delving into and exploring, kind of figuring out who I am in this world, how I want to be seen, but also what I bring to the world and, what kind of value do I add and what I want the world to be and, all these kind of questions and how do I fit into all of this. I suppose I've always asked these questions, but they've really come to a head these past few days. And so that's why I felt inspired to talk about it, because I feel that it affects so many areas of my life, knowing or not knowing what my purpose is, really affects how I conduct my life. My work, my hobbies, my health, how I communicate with people, so my relationships, all of that gets affected by, the drivers, like what's driving me, what's behind all of this. And, I think that whether you believe that purpose is something that you given by some higher being, God or gods or the universe or your soul or higher self or, whatever is your thing, whatever you believe, I don't think, where it comes from, it's that relevant, it's that whether it's there or not. So, some people believe it's something that is kind of given to them by others or by something else, and their role is to find it and live it. And some people believe that it's something they have to just find for themselves. It's, they're just born, they live their life, and they give their life meaning. They decide what's their purpose. And at the end of the day, the result, I feel, is the same, and it doesn't really matter where that come from, whether it came from your intuition or whether it came from your learning and knowing. I feel that the result is still the same, and feel free to disagree with me. I'm always up for learning new things and new perspectives, so do write in the comments if you have different opinions on this subject. But I think it really comes down to just figuring out what that purpose actually is. There are obviously many ways to do that. I think for lots of people it requires having that space and time, which is often created like for people that are finding a purpose that's been given, then they often meditate or pray for the inspiration to come to them. People would choose the kind of more methodic way of looking at it, kind of figuring out for themselves. I find it actually also can benefit from form of meditation, of kind of just having that space to really feel through and think about where they're at. And the way I approach that personally is kind of first figuring out who I have been in the world, so how I present myself, how people see me, how I act, how I respond to situations, and then also how I want to be seen, like what I want to be as a person, so if you're not too sure, you can look at people that you admire, why you admire them, what qualities do you admire about them, and why do you want those qualities for yourself. So that's kind of helping you to figure out your place in the world. Hello, Evelyn. Thank you for joining me. So it's, it's a lot about kind of figuring out your place in the world and who you are and how you're seen and presented. I think the next step is also having a look at the world itself as to how it is now, how you perceive the world, the good and the bad stuff, what is it like? And then again, take the next step into what you want it to be like. What's your ideal idea of the world, how it would work, what would it look like, how would people behave. You can go to lots of detail and perhaps even write in a book about it, or you can make it just a bullet points. It just kind of make it clear to yourself of where the world is right now, and where you would like it to be. And then the last step is, okay, what can I do to be the person I want to be? What can I do to make the world the way I want it to be? What is it that I can add? How much value or what kind of value I can add to myself or to the world in order to add that value to basically others, to other people, and how I can help perhaps others to add value to the world. And I think that's where the purpose comes in, like what is such a huge place, so varied, and there's so many different things that need to be done, that we all have different ways of adding value. So it can be as simple as being a parent, bringing up, new human beings, in a loving, caring, compassionate way. That's already a purpose in itself. If that's not your thing, which is perfectly fine, there's so many other ways to add value to the world. Caring for children who don't have parents or who have parents who don't care for them. Caring for animals, for plants, for the environment. Being a bin man, it's an amazing job. It adds so much value to our lives. Otherwise, we'd be drowning in rubbish. A waitress or chef can add value to our lives because they prepare and serve food that we really enjoy, and sometimes can make our lives much easier because we don't have the time or don't make the time to cook and prepare our food. It can be served to us, so they add value to our lives. It can be a therapist, who helps you, whether it's with your physical ailments or, with mental health. Can be coaches. It can be any kind of services, so whether you're doctor, nurse, police officer, soldier, like everyone, whatever you do, every person on this planet have something within them that adds value to the world. And sometimes when people don't know what it is, it's almost like they're keeping it to themselves, not on purpose, they're not conscious of it, but they kind of get closed off to the world and they don't realize what their gifts are, what value they add in. And quite often, unfortunately, people don't even believe they have any value in the world, and then can lead to depression, anxiety, in extreme cases to suicide, when they feel like there is nothing I bring to this world, I might as well remove myself from it. I've been there. I've been at that point a couple of times in my life, and I felt there is no value in my life. There is nothing I can bring to this world. Like, if I disappear right now, no one's gonna give a shit. And especially when I was young, when I was 14, I really, really believed that. I really believed that actually people's life would be easier without me. That actually I was not adding value, I was taking it away by being alive. Obviously, looking back, I know that's not the case, but that's how I felt, and what I feel that my value in the world now is, what I add to the world, is helping people understand their value in the world, to help them understand they are absolutely worthy of being alive, and that they are important, and that whatever it is, there is something within them that's crucial in the tapestry of the world, that without them it's going to be a black hole in a picture, that we need them, and helping them to find out what it is within them that they are gifting to the world, and encouraging them to share that gift. And that's my purpose. That's what sets my soul alight, whatever you want to call it. That's what makes me feel alive. That's what gives me buzzing. When I'm working with my clients, sometimes I get goosebumps when they get the light bulb moment. I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this. I'm loving this, And that's my life's purpose. And no matter how hard sometimes it gets, like being self-employed and being a therapist and stuff brings its own challenges. Especially when I had no particular experience with being self-employed before. But I'm learning, as I'm going along, I'm learning, and I keep going, and I'm not giving up. I know that I cannot give up, that it will find me anyway, that, I will not be allowed to give up, because this is what I'm meant to do, that's what keeps me going, that's what makes me feel good. But also it makes for other people good, I am seeing the results in my clients, and they're doing so well and changing their lives for the better, whether it's through the massage or the NLP hypnotherapy, and it feels fantastic. And seeing it in, people around me as well, who also live in their purpose, who are serving the world in their own way. Again, it's really amazing to see. They literally like shine a light, they just amazing people to be around, with all their flaws, and being sometimes, making mistakes and being annoying and all that. It doesn't mean you somehow become a perfect human. But some of these things just don't really matter because of what they add to the world. It's like, okay, you can be annoying today because you're doing so much, and I love you so much for that. And I don't know, it's just, you can just tell when someone's doing what they're meant to be doing. And don't take me wrong, it's not like I'm saying that everyone should quit their 9-to-5 jobs and become entrepreneurs. And, this is not everyone's purpose. Being innovative and creative and starting new things, it's not everyone's thing. If it was everyone's things, lots of things just never would get done. There's lots of things that need to be done on everyday basis to make everything work. And if we all like me, it wouldn't run very well, that's what I mean about like everyone has something else to add. And although maybe being in office 9-to-5 might not be your purpose, what might be your purpose is being a great mother, and you're able to do that because you have that job. Your purpose might be being a great dance teacher, but you don't want to do it as your full-time job because that would suck the soul out of it. You enjoy it because you do it only in the evenings when, you relax into it. If you do it as a full-time job with the added stresses and stuff, it can actually suck the life out of it, So, some people say, find what you love, your passion, and make it your job. I really don't agree with that. I think it's okay on some occasions and it works for some people, but I would not recommend it to everyone. Like, some hobbies meant to remain hobbies, and like prime example is I absolutely adore horses, love horses. I've worked with horses for quite a while. I've worked with horses for over a year. Interesting experience. Would I want it as a job for the rest of my life? Absolutely not. No, it just doesn't work. I don't want to be. I enjoy mucking out and cleaning the horses, brushing them off and settling them and all that stuff. I enjoy that. But do I want it to be my everyday reality for the rest of my life? No. It's a hobby, and I love it with passion. I love the horses, and I want to have my own at some point, and all that stuff. That doesn't mean I want it as a job. It doesn't mean it's my purpose. My purpose is not being a stable girl. My purpose is to help people. And hopefully in the future I can work with horses to help people, and hopefully also help horses, and it's something I'm working towards. But it's not being a stable girl. That's not my purpose. Yet there might be someone whose purpose is to be a stable girl, stable boy. Because they have some amazing gift when they can look after the horses really well, and it brings them joy and it fulfills them, and that's great. And that's what I mean. Like, it's not about what other people doing, what you think that you should be doing, or what society tells you should be doing. It's not about any of that. It's about what you feel in your gut that is the right thing for you. And sometimes to be able to live our life purpose and kind of our soul purpose, we sometimes need to do things we don't enjoy so much. Let's say you want to be the dance teacher who teaches in the evenings. You need to have a 9-to-5 job probably to support yourself through it. And although I don't recommend being a job that you absolutely hate, if it's the kind of like, yeah, it's okay, I enjoy my colleagues, I enjoy my work a little bit, it doesn't set my soul on fire, but it's okay as long as you have something else that sets your souls on fire. Whether it's, as I said, teaching, doesn't have to be dance, can be any kind of teaching, that you can bring so much to people and to society by teaching, yet you don't have to be a full-time teacher. It can be just something that you do on the side. You can work with different projects and stuff like that. You can just find little things that just really make your life worth living. And what's wonderful is, as well, I really want to touch on, is like making your life worth living, like every moment of it. It's not necessarily about enjoying every bit of it. That's not just enjoyment at worth. I feel that the experience that we perceive as not so good, I can add even more value and even more worth. That doesn't mean we should seek them out, but I think accepting them as what they are can really help you to understand what made you the person you are, and actually how much more you can now offer because you have experienced these things. So because I had felt suicide in the past, because I have lost my husband and gone through incredible grief, because I've gone through lots of pain, because I went through weight issues, I couldn't lose weight and felt bad about my body, all these things like eating disorder, all that kind of stuff. Because I went through that, although it was not enjoyable last bit, apart from the eating disorder, you enjoy some of the food, but most of these moments were not enjoyable at all. Did not enjoy them, yet they add massive value to my experience, because they actually allow me to relate to people more, to be more compassionate, to be more understanding, to help people more because of that. Because I've gone through that shit, so I can say, okay, this is how I deal with it. It might not be the best way for you, but it's one of the ways that you can deal with the shit that you're going through, been there, done that. So actually all these kind of negative things that happen in my life added incredible value to my life. And therefore it made my life worth living as it is. Every moment of it. I have no regrets. There are plenty of things I would not do again, or would not want to go through again. I have learned from them, so I don't have to do that again. But that doesn't mean I regret it. It doesn't mean that I would change it. Because if I changed that, I would change everything. I wouldn't be the person I am. Maybe I wouldn't be a therapist. Maybe I wouldn't be able to help people. Maybe I wouldn't be so compassionate. I would be a real horrible bitch. Because I have tendencies for arrogance. I know that. It's something I had to consciously work on. So if that kind of got really tempered by my capacity for compassion that came from grief and pain. And if I didn't experience the grief and pain, I'd probably be proper arrogant bitch, I'd be horrible. So I feel that every experience is really, really important building block in our lives. And what makes our lives worth living is, I feel, what value we then add to the world. So we take value from the world by accepting things, from people, like whether it's gifts, whether it's experiences, whether it's help, services, all that stuff. We accept value. But I think what really makes it worth living when we add it, when we give. And whether it's on a quite small scale, as in, you work within your little family or your little community, that it's quite limited number of people, that's just as powerful and just as important as when you're trying to reach the whole city, the whole country, or the whole world. I think if you make a positive difference to one person's life throughout the whole of your life, you already added value to your life. You already made your life worth living. And obviously and especially if sometimes we kind of help just one person, but consistently throughout our life, when you look at carers, how much value they add to the person they care for, and yet they don't have really time or energy to care for anyone else, quite often not even for themselves, but they add an amazing amount of value to the person that they're caring for. So it's not necessarily about this kind of I'm going to save the world attitude and I'm going to help every single person on the planet and I want to make massive impact and have everyone remember me. If there's one person that remembers you fondly when you're gone, one person that will miss you, I think that's enough. Even if it's a dog, it doesn't have to be a person. If it's an animal, if it's a space, it might be a garden that you've made into a little paradise that you've given your love and care to, that little birds live in and bees, and you've created this little micro universe of heavenliness. That garden will miss you when you're gone. And yes, it might not be perceived the same as like human feelings, but I feel it needs to be said. It's not just about helping people. It's not just about actions that are visible to others. It's not just about donating money to charity or your time, volunteering and stuff. That there's so many ways of changing the world, and literally every little helps here. And you can change the world towards what you want it to be like, in your little ways, in your capacity, in what's possible for you right now. And yes, you can daydream and you can dream big and, have bold ideas of how you can make big difference, and go for it, absolutely go for it. But while you're going for it, make sure that you still live in your life soul purpose. It's something that still fills you up with so much joy and yet satisfaction, when you kind of know, like, yes, this matters, this is important, this makes a difference to something or someone. As I said, it doesn't have to people, it makes difference to the birds, makes difference to the trees, makes difference to the plants, to the worms in the ground, whatever, we all have little role, and, most of us hate spiders, but there is some people who absolutely love them and preserve them and make sure that, their environment is preserved and protected. And that goes to kind of every aspects of life. There's, fortunately, there's so many people and so many quirky people as well that like and adore and give their time to things that most of us don't even know exist. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. And that's what I mean about finding your own value that you add to the world. And it doesn't have to be anything you've ever seen before. It doesn't have to be anything you ever heard of before. It doesn't have to be mainstream in any way. It doesn't have to be big and dramatic and theatrical. It can be really little things, but when you find it, it literally makes you feel, I keep touching my chest when I say it, because it's like expands you, it expands your chest, it just makes you feel really connected to yourself and to the world, and really makes you feel like you have that, you kind of deserve that space there, like it's like, yes, this is why I'm here, because no one else can bring this is me. Some people might bring something similar, but this is unique to me. This is a unique combination, a perfect spell that I am bringing to the world, and making the world and the planet and people's lives better for it. So I hope this, I'm just wary of the time, because at 11 o'clock there's 2 minutes silence for fallen soldiers, which I feel we should respect. So I'm going to just wrap it up really quickly. Thank you very much for listening. Please do join the conversation. Please do come up with your own ideas and opinions. I'd like to talk to you. And if you feel you need a little bit of help with finding what your purpose is, give me that call. We'll arrange a call for half an hour. It's free. We'll chat and see if I can help you some more. All right. So I'm Kristina Mendes-Matějová. I'm an NLP therapist and massage therapist, and I do lots of wonderful things. And you can find out all about them on my website or my Facebook. And yeah, stay in touch, and I'll see you next Saturday. Bye bye.